We no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Up, down, up, down. And win. If you come over here, just go ahead, take it, yeah, we don't see it. Ludacris going in on the verses, I'm never gonna see this and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that are making them a whole lot down. I never went nowhere. What they saying? What up, Adam Jablin?
What's up, Darius? I'm so happy to be on your show.
Oh, man. Welcome to the Greatness Machine, my friend.
Thank you, pal. Thank you.
Pumped to have you.
Honored to be here.
Guys, welcome to the Greatness Machine. I'm your host, Darius Mirshahzadeh. And boy, do we have a special guest with you today. It is my buddy, Adam Jablin. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you, bro. Let's have some fun. Let's be entertaining.
I've been looking forward to this. Dude, I'm pumped to have you here. We got a lot to talk about. Do you mind if I do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started?
No, not at all.
So you guys, as you know, we are the Greatness Machine, and the Greatness Machine is about two things: people who are living their passions and those who are creating greatness in the world. And my friend Adam is doing both that, living his passion and creating massive greatness in the world. So lucky to have him. Before we get started, though, a couple of things. First of all, we're live. We're on Facebook. We're on a couple other platforms. Start a watch party. Ask us questions. I got my team on standby. Amber's here. She'll be sending questions over my way. But yeah, start watch parties, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. And with that said, oh my gosh, I was like, Adam Jablin, my man, my brother is here. Now, I want to get a little background on this. Do you mind if I do a little background?
Not at all, bro. Let's go.
All right. So I'm like new to this digital game. I'm analog, right? We're both young enough where we're like kind of riding that tightrope. How old are you? You in your 40s? Okay, you're 44. I'm 42, right? So for some people they're like, that's old, and for other people that's young, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like we're basically like in this perfect spot where we've come up with social media. We've come up, like, I was on Friendster. I don't even know if you even remember what that was. That was before MySpace, right?
I remember MySpace. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Friendster was the original social network before MySpace. And then MySpace came out, and then Facebook took that over, and now you got Instagram, you got all these, like, TikTok and all that other Snapchat and all that stuff. But so we're young enough where we're kind of dabbling on the digital side, but we've also come up in the analog world as well. So I kind of feel like we've gotten a taste of both worlds, which means we're basically bilingual when it comes to business. We know both sides of the fence.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, all right, both of us are authors, and I'll talk about your accomplishments in a second. But I'm going to do your accomplishments first, and I'm going to talk about how we met.
Yeah.
So Adam Jablin is a entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, a best-selling author of Lotsaholic, keynote speaker, spiritual mentor, meditation master, advocate of recovery, and all-around motherfucking badass.
Yeehaw!
So okay, here's some story. So I'm like, man, I don't have a social platform. Like I got a couple thousand followers on like Facebook, and I got 6,000. I got 6,000 followers on Instagram. Basically, sorry, not Instagram, on LinkedIn. But on Instagram, I was like, sorry, I apologize, everyone. I'm going to offend right now. I was like, back in 2009, I was like, man, I'm going to find every person I've ever known in my entire life on Facebook and connect with them. And I got up to like 1,800 people. I swear to God, these are people I actually was friends with and knew at some point in my life.
Wow.
Dude, I went back to fucking preschool, dude. I was like looking up people I went to preschool with who I hadn't seen since I was in first grade and connecting.
You remembered their last names?
Dude, I remember their first name. Some of them I knew like there's a guy, Chris Wade, like he was my pastor's son, and he was my best friend. So I went and found him, and I'm like, and then there's this kid Ben Trigg, and I'm like, all right, I go found him. And then once I found him, I started looking up people by their first names because I didn't remember everyone's last name. Yeah. But dude, I was connecting with people literally I hadn't seen them since I was in second grade. Now, it's cool, right? To find and this is when Facebook was like brand new in like 07, 08 for like non-high school kids. So I connect with all these people. And then I was like, fuck, I have to see all their stupid shit. These are people I don't know. I didn't know. I'm like, I don't fucking know them. It's not like they were my friends in high school. I didn't even know them. Right. They're posting crazy shit about
now
their
you
life.
know every political view, everything, things that you never wanted to know.
Dude, it was like torture.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people, I was connected with people that I didn't really know. It was just people that I kind of knew growing up. And so then I was like, so then I go and do what some people did. I'm like, I'm going to go on. I got to clean this shit up. I'm going to go unfriend 1,000 of these people. Dude, Facebook makes it like a nightmare to unfriend anybody. Right.
Right.
Like, it's like a 5-step click. I was like, this is the worst. I'm like, I can't do this. It's going to take me fucking like 3 months to unfriend all these fucking people.
Did you offend anyone?
No. Thank God they changed their algorithm so it doesn't show you people you don't interact with. I just gave up. This is back in 2012. I was like, fuck it, I don't care. So I said, all right. But right around then, 11, 12, Instagram starts coming up. And I was like, dude, I like Instagram. It's cooler. There's no political bullshit. I'm going to go friend exactly who I want to friend on there. And I'm not friending anyone else. And so I kept it tight as I got, like 300-400 people in there, but they're like people I actually I give a shit about what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't have much of an Instagram following, and I go to launch this book, and I was like, dude, I think Instagram's where it's at. Everyone, like, I always think of social media as like the club, right? And I'm like, sorry, Facebook, but I'm like, Facebook's where all the old people hang out. It's like where it's the old club. That's where it's like going to the 40+ night, it's like where all the cougars and like the silver foxes go. And I was like, no, I'm gonna go to Vegas. I want to go to where all the young hotties and like cool people are hanging out. I want to go to the Studio 54. So Instagram's like Studio 54. So I'm like, I'm not going to like the old beat up club. And so I started hanging out there, and I'm like, well, dude, this is probably a good place to build. I love Instagram. I think it's a cool place to build your following. It's a cool place to, build a real platform. And I don't know how the hell I came upon you, but I start digging. I'm really good at digging. Dude, I built some big businesses, and it's not because I knew what the hell I was doing. It's because I figured shit out.
Right.
And somehow I come across you. And I was like, well, this guy seems interesting. I start looking at all your profile, and I see like all your followers and that they're interacting. You have really, really high engagement. And I was like, dude, how did this guy do this? This is and then I dug more, and you kind of know the rest of the story. But so you and I hook up. Right away, I was like, "Hey," and so I'm gonna. This is a honesty moment. You want an honesty moment from me?
Always honest.
I was like, "Dude, I'm just gonna invite this guy to be on my show. He's launched a book. And then I'm gonna ask him how the hell he built his following after the show. But I don't want to I'm all about the give before they ask. Okay. So I'm like, I'll put him on my show first. I know we'll be friends, and then he'll tell me how the hell he did it, but offline, right? And so I do that. It was on a Sunday. You jumped on that shit. You scheduled. I was like, damn, that guy was fucking quick. I like that.
Yeah.
So now you're scheduled, and it's like the day before our show.
Oh shit.
And I get a cancellation.
Right.
Hey, by the way, dude, I tell everything on this show because I love my.
Yeah. This is my bad. This is my bad.
This is awesome. This is the best part of the whole story. And so I get a fucking cancellation like the day before the show, and it was like no email, nothing, and I was like, that's weird. And so I wait like an hour or two, no email, and I was like, now, as many of you in the audience know, like I say tons of fucked up shit on this show, and usually it's political, and I'm like, dude, maybe Adam's like a really big Trump supporter, and I pissed him off because I talk about how I fucking hate Trump, and so I was like, all right, maybe it was an accident. Because I really wanted to hook up with him. I was like, dude, this guy seemed cool. Like I want to meet him. And so I sent an email, and I'm like, hey, dude, I just want to make sure, I saw you canceled. No worries. Like if you want to reschedule, here's the link. And the response is all good, period. All good, period. And I was like,
I apologize.
Wow. I totally offended this guy somehow. So, Adam, you tell your side of the story.
It was a total misunderstanding. We had just, however you want to word this, put up a post on Instagram saying that we were going to take 5 new people into the Hero Project, right? And usually, you know, I have a little bit of a waiting list. So when we do this, I get a lot of engagement, Darius, like a lot. And through Calendly links and Instagram, right? I'm getting all these emails trying to confirm and cancel and this and that. So I thought you were somebody from Instagram that wasn't qualified for the Hero Project that was canceling it. I was like, oh, no, dude, we're fine. All good. Like, it's all good. And I think, what was it though? Only the next day I came for the
oh yeah 10 a.m. the next morning you showed up, and I was like, dude, no show. And by the way, I was in the middle of book launch, so I was like, I was drowning, right? So you don't know this, but I actually had to pushed a few other ones off, but I was like, nah, I don't know this guy. Like, I canceled like 2 or 3 other shows. So I was like, dude, there's no way I can do book launch and keep doing I was at 13 shows the week before my book launch. And I was like, there's no fucking way I can do this.
But we did a nice call. I made amends.
Yes, you did.
I asked for forgiveness. I told you that it's completely my bad, our bad.
Oh,
we had a great conversation. And by the way, dude, so much love to you and congratulations on your book launch.
Thank you.
And the team. I mean, I hope you're really, really proud, man.
Thank you.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I hope I hope you don't feel the accomplishment and then now you're on to the net. Like, enjoy this for a little bit. You guys really did something special.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I want to talk to you more about it on the show. I'm grateful for the book, but I did what I always do. I started moving on. I went right back into grind mode, and I have not celebrated the way I should. And so we'll talk about that, because I think your book Lotsaholic is probably has a lot to do with. I suffer from what Tucker Max says hustle porn. I suffer from that. So
you can also call that, I love that because I'm a hustler too, but really it's also chronic dissatisfaction.
Yeah. So I do suffer from chronic dissatisfaction. So it's really hard for me to, like, I've done this my whole career. I have a win and then I just move on to the next thing. So I've already did that, and it's a problem. But yeah, I do want to give you credit where credit's due, dude. You were because I made fun of you right now about the cancellation, which I couldn't help myself because it's a fucking funny story.
It's my fault. It's
no,
totally
dude, bro. You were so gracious and so apologetic to the point where I was like, no, seriously. The fact that this happened was kind of a blessing in disguise, because A, I really didn't have the bandwidth to do a show that week, and B, we got to have we pretty basically did get to have the show offline, and you and I got to have this great conversation and connect. And it's funny when you meet certain people in your life, and you're like, right away you hit it off, and you're like, dude, like, we're resonating on the same wavelength. And you and I had that, like, really, like, within like the first minute of the conversation. So I was like, oh, I like this guy. And I know you felt the same way. So anyway, it worked out for the best, but you were so overly apologetic and gracious about it. You didn't even have to be, because I'm serious, where I was like, no, seriously, you don't apologize anymore. It was a blessing for me, because I really was dying from the book launch. But dude, anyway, I'm so glad to have you here. This is a couple weeks in the making. I'm out of book launch now. The book's launched, which means I'm in the next 6 years of launch. But you and I, we're kind of running these parallel paths. Do you mind, like, telling your story a little bit to the audience?
You mean just recently, or like the story?
Go back story, because you're in this really interesting spot where you're coaching now and you're speaking. And you have a book, but I think for people to understand that, you really have to understand the origin. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try, but I'll try to make it short and sweet. So
just give like the mid-level version, like not a 40-minute keynote. Give me like a 10-minute version.
All right. How about 5? I'll try to do 5.
Well, yeah, it's all good.
So, born in New York, grew up in New Jersey, Tenafly, New Jersey, till about 12 years old, 12, 13. Where, if you remember the movie Big with Tom Hanks,
of course,
it was like that. We were just all on our bicycles every day. It was a community. It was. I still feel like my friends from Tenafly, New Jersey, are like family. And the one thing I would say that was different about me, that made me feel insecure, was my weight. I was the heavy kid. My dad used to call me, not meaning to hurt me, El Chubbo. At the time the Goonies movies was out, people would ask me to do the chunk shuffle, and I hated it. I hated the way I looked.
Wait, how old were you when you were?
Well, these are like this is from my earliest memories up to 12, 13 years old.
All right. So by the way, I was kind of my family, my brother, and people did the same shit to us. My brother more than me, because he was like he was an overweight kid. And so I grew up being like a husky kid. That's what they call us.
Yeah, that's what we had to shop. The husky section. I hated it.
Husky's what my grandmother and mom would say. Oh, you are not fat, you're husky. That's what people that love you say. And then the dickheads would call you fat.
Yeah.
So I grew up. Hey, dude, you don't know this about me. I lost 150 pounds 3 years ago. Yeah. We'll go there. But anyway, so you grew up. I grew up, dude. I know that this is why we like each other, because we grew up fat kids.
Yeah.
They had to deal with that shit.
Pounds is no joke, man. And by the way, so you have this too. So I guess you understand. When you're the heavy kid, a lot of us develop a very outgoing, enthusiastic, funny personality. And I really do believe the idea is I want you to laugh with me, not at me. And I think it's a way that we learn how to go through this world with not constantly feeling bad about ourselves. So I naturally got this outgoing, kind of funny, loud personality to try to make you laugh with me and not at me anymore.
Were you a total shit talker? Because I was.
I mean, I was. It depends on the moment, but I was.
Dude, my brother and I would get our asses kicked by older kids all the time for clowning them and getting to your point, you're not going to win in the looks competition. Like, right. Even if you're good looking, but you're, people aren't like, man, that's one, svelte looking kid, right? Like girls are, and right around 12, 13 when girls start getting, interested in boys in a real way. And so they're going after the jocks. And even if I was a jock, I was husky and I was a jock, but, so we just won. We couldn't win in that department, but I could win being witty and fucking quick and talk shit. So it ended up me getting my fucking ass kicked a bunch of times because of it. But anyway, I was just curious if you.
No, I mean, I may have had a chip on my shoulder. I don't think I took it to that direction, but I mean, I could, but it was much more about I was a little sweeter, and I was trying. Listen, I just didn't like my weight constantly being brought up. Yeah. I really didn't like it. So
can I give advice right now to parents and people out there? Sure. Hey, guess what? You should never tell someone they're overweight. They fucking already know it, you dumb motherfuckers. Just so you know. And you should never call your kid overweight, because you know whose fault it is? It's your fucking fault for not exercising with them and for fucking making sure they eat healthy.
Amen.
Don't call your kids fucking fat. Don't tell someone they're overweight. They already know it, you dumb fucks. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Amen. So at 12, 13, I moved down to Boca Raton, Florida. My father opened his own business. It looks like it's the same business. It was designing and manufacturing lace. My grandfather owned the original, and now my father opened his own, but it was all the same customers and similar product. But it was
manufacturing what now?
Lace,
lace.
Victoria's Secrets, hanky panky, fashion, high fashion.
Did you just totally date yourself with the hanky panky?
They were a great customer.
I like Fredericks of Hollywood. I was a Fredericks of Hollywood kid.
They were a great customer, hanky panky was a great customer. And so we moved down here, and it's hot. And you can always have your shirt off, and you can always go to the beach, and I go in the pool with my shirt on, and it sucks to my fat. And I just hated it here. I missed everybody a lot. I hated the way I looked, and all I remember is a decision, of no more. And my mom was very supportive, and she would buy me Muscle and Fitness magazine and Flex magazine. And I would, I didn't know what I was really doing back then, but I was, I'm pretending to be Rocky Balboa. And rather than getting a 6-piece chicken McNugget, after school with the big Coke and the fries, I started having a grilled chicken breast and an apple. And in 4 short years, I went from being like the fattest kid in this school, or my grade, to the best built kid in school.
Yeah.
I went from people going, Adam, how many Oreos did you eat last night, teasing me, to, yo, man, how much can you bench? The girls.
How much could you bench?
I got up there.
Come on. How much did you weigh when you were the most built kid in your school?
I think the best I ever was around at that time 165. I wasn't the strongest.
How tall were you then?
5'6".
Oh, okay. So you're like mid-sized guy, ripped.
Yeah, I was well proportioned. I really built the body like the right way.
So it's funny. I did the same thing, but I'm a bigger guy. I went from, because I wrestled in high school and college, and I was kind of like just chubby, when you weigh 210 pounds and you're 5'7", 5'8", and you're like 15, like not strong. That's not good. I ended up getting up. I was the biggest dude in my school. I got up to like not weight, but just like mass. I got up to like 240 solid.
Just
6 foot tall, 240, bench like 300 pounds when I was 17. Yeah. Like that's a big dude,
Yeah, you were a strong guy.
Yeah, I wasn't. I've never been able to get that super cut, but I did the same that you did. I was like lived in the gym, obsessed. I was in the gym 3 hours a day when I was 16 years old. I lived there.
Same, absolutely. Yeah. Darius, the same, 100%, like same person. So with me personally, I was the body, and now the image. I was always around built kids, some of them older. I would never say anything was peer pressure. There was always something cooler about hanging around with older kids. And alcohol kind of enters the scene. It's 1990, 1990, 91, 92. So it's Pearl Jam and Dr. Dre and Snoop, and I'm just trying to give you a time frame of.
Oh, dude, I was there, man.
Yeah,
all these other people don't know how cool it was to be a kid.
Yes, and all I can tell you is when I drank, right, when I experimented, it fixed something inside of me that I didn't know was broken.
Like, what do you mean? Like you felt like you were the fucking king?
I felt finally my insides matched my outsides.
When you drank.
Yeah, when I drank.
Oh, so you felt? Did you when you lost all the weight? Did you still have like a confidence issue?
Totally.
Oh, okay.
People didn't know it. They didn't know it.
But you were very insecure.
I was still the insecure fat kid, no doubt. Always trying to make you laugh. Always trying to make you like me. But when I drank, dude, the party is with me. A leadership quality came out. A craziness came out. A funner guy came out. A looser guy. I was the first kid in my high school with a fake driver's license. It was from Iowa. You know what I mean? It was terrible, but when we drove all the way out in the boonies, I was always the one. And it just became so important in my life. I went to Arizona State University because Playboy and Penthouse said it was the #1 party school, which it was, and just dominated there, and still have amazing friends from high school, from Arizona State University. When I tell them that I'm sober now, no one goes, "Oh, I never knew you had a problem." They're like, "That's great." And I take this mentality of work hard, play hard into the family business. I committed to my father that I would go into the family business, and my personality wasn't needed anymore. This was now the company. There was no need to have a sales kid there. This was now a factory. It was a finely tuned machine. And I thought I was going to be kind of like my grandfather, like an outside guy and getting sales. Well, those days were dead.
How big was the company when you at this point?
Yeah, it was a 100,000 square foot company, about 110 employees. At that time, it was 3 8-hour shifts, and I had to start at the bottom. I had to earn everyone's respect. I stayed next to the plant manager all the time. I just walked next to him all day long. And within the company, there's so many stories that over time are like, sometimes they're funny to look back at, sometimes they're painful to look back at. But the family business was one of the greatest educations I've ever had. And it really taught me about business, and it really taught me, and I was different. When I had to, so I wasn't happy with what I was doing. But
right, you went into the family biz because that was like, that made sense.
Yes, and in my
you just came from fucking Arizona State, which was probably like, you were not sober at this point either, were you?
No.
Right. So you just came from, and were you there for 4 years, or did you squeeze out a fifth?
I don't know how the hell I made it 4 years, but I made it.
Oh God, I'm like, most people do 5 because they're treating themselves.
Yeah, I could have used an extra year. I mean, I don't even know if I would have lived if I stayed in. You know?
Oh my God. Okay, so dude, you go from a pretty crazy environment where you probably, like, whether your confidence was up or not, you definitely probably achieved a lot of things that from a friends. And
I had a I always had like a Ferris Bueller way about me. You know, I was friends with everybody, and I would drink with anybody. You know, you didn't have to have muscles to drink with me. You didn't have to be good looking to drink with me. You didn't, let's just have a good time.
Yeah. So you're a good time, Charlie. Then you go home to Boca.
And it's time to grow up. And I had to grow up really fast. And it was a shock to the system, there's no doubt. And there's no need to have anybody with a good personality. But I got a strong education of what business is really all about. And this is over time and over years. But inside, I was definitely not happy. And the drinking continued. And I fell in love with my wife, and she hated my drinking. So pills start coming in. I'm trying to take Xanax to take the edge off. I tear my ACL and my MCL, and now I'm introduced to Percocets and Oxycontin.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, this was not.
So this wasn't party drugs. This was like this was like pain management. And
I was a junkie in a way, but in my mind, if you get it from a doctor, you're not, which is the mind of an alcoholic and an addict. It's just the mind of always making an excuse and always having a reason.
What was your drink of choice?
Oh, Patron tequila, a double or triple on the rocks, and a brandy snifter with a tiny bit of Rose's lime juice.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah, and then
it actually sounds kind of good.
Three solid shots and a brandy snifter, and that was my go-to.
So you have alcoholic, like, was there alcoholism in your family, or was this just your own thing?
It's my own thing. Like, I mean, there's some heavy drinkers in my family, but I'm the
you drew the short straw.
Yeah. I peaked it.
Dude, there's alcoholism on my mom's side of the family. So and there's some drug addiction in my family too. So I was brought up. My uncle actually was a junkie, like hardcore, like speedballs and shit.
Wow. Yeah.
But, so I grew up watching a junkie, and it was fucking fucked up. So my whole family was like, "You don't want to be like your uncle," and I was like, "Nope, like I don't." So that was kind of that didn't stop me and my brother from experimenting, but it was a detractor, because you watch someone that literally was a heroin junkie. When you see that shit and you're like 3, like, it's fucked up, kind of leaves its mark. But
you know what? Thank God. I'm glad.
Yeah. I mean, like,
your uncle, but I'm happy that you saw it and didn't want to be like that.
Dude, better him than me, man. I mean, I don't mean to be an asshole about it, but that was a choice he made, and it left its mark on me and my brother at a young age. We're like, like, and that didn't stop us from partying. Don't get me wrong. Like, we were fucking. I love to party. Yeah, and I'm still like. They say the shitty thing about addiction is you don't get to do it anymore. I'm like,
at the end though, it's sweeter on this side.
Yeah, no. I got a bunch of friends who are sober, and it depends on why you're doing it, right? If you're doing it to numb, then yeah, like,
I was doing it to numb.
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm happy to talk, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So go ahead. So you're so now you have like a pill problem, alcohol problem, and how old are you at this point? Like mid-20s, late 20s?
Yeah. Let's say now I'm about 28, 29. So now life shows up, right? So I'll give you an example. My wife and I are trying to have a baby. We have to go do in vitro. It was, look, 99.9% of the hardship is on the woman, but I want to be a part of it. I want to be there, and I want to be a part of it. And I want to be a supportive, loving husband. So I was at every doctor appointment and the shots. And now granted, she's the one getting the shots. And the Gonalef and I can't remember Lupro and my heart broke for her, and she was courageous and she took it on like a champion. She was just such a champion. And my grandmother, who is a very strong part of my whole story, gets exploratory surgery, and she was young. She's in her late 60s at this time, and she starts getting really, really ill. And I just remember getting the phone call from my grandfather, and I drove to the hospital, and things weren't good, and I was holding her. I was holding her, and she was afraid, she was terrified, she was so scared, and she was getting colder, and all she wanted was some apple juice, and they were like, "No, we can't give her anything to drink," and she goes into therapy, and she goes into surgery therapy. And things are just not looking good. I'm looking at my grandfather, like, where are they? Where are they? And he's looking in the hall, and I'm holding her. And finally, my grandfather's like, "Fuck them!" Gives her some apple juice, and all of a sudden, I heard that beat. I heard that beat. And the body she went cold, and my grandfather, her wish was not to be resuscitated. When they asked, my grandfather said no. A part of me died, but I knew that he was honoring her, and it was like the greatest act of love I had ever seen in my life. But I was like, no, you got to bring her back. Like, what are you talking? But the answer was like, she did not want to be a vegetable, and things were going bad. So I deal with life for the first time. I deal with mortality, and my best friend, who by the way is still like a brother to me, him and my sister fall into not love, but lust. And they decide to get married. And I just don't have any of the coping mechanisms for all of this. I'm just not wired for this.
Wait, your best friend and your sister got married?
Yeah, for about a year. They just, what happened was they fell in love with the idea of being in love with each other,
Yeah.
And it takes me now at 44 to understand what happened. Then I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's weird.
What the fuck is going on? Yeah, but I get it now. I get it. And I get it. Anyway, and this is where I like to say, now, listen, I'm not going to try to turn anyone off that's listening to you and I, but this is why I believe in God or a higher power, and this is where God decides to make alcohol and drugs not work. Now, when I say that, this is what I mean. I could drink, and you could see that I was like intoxicated, but it didn't do for me what it used to do. It didn't turn that sad, nervous, fat kid off and Superman would come out. It didn't happen. I could drink, and all I kept hearing was, "You're a loser. You're never going to be as good as you."
Oh, wow. Do you think you had like depression maybe?
I had alcoholism and addiction to such a degree that you could, when you're at that stage of alcoholism addiction, it encompasses so many different things.
Oh yeah, because at this point,
part of it,
it's not fixing what it did before.
It wasn't work. And the way I'm wired is, well, that means I'm not doing enough.
Oh shit!
I must need, and it just started an awful cycle. We have my daughter. I thought she was going to be my saving grace, and I can't turn this thing off. And one day at a time. I mean, listen, at the peak of what I was doing for every day, right towards the end, I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, take 2 things of ephedrine, which is illegal now, with coffee, sweat out the night before. My heart would be pounding about an hour and a half later. So I would take a few Xanax. I would take a few Xanax throughout the day and some Pepsid AC because my stomach was constantly acidic from all the acid, from all the pills and all the booze. Then I would take a pre-workout right before lunch and go work out, because when I worked out, it was like my sanctuary. Shower at the gym, come back, work, probably take a few more Xanax to keep me calm, because those pre-workouts, you may as well have snorted an 8-ball of Coke. You know what I mean? So take a few more Xanax. On the way home, pick up a 6-pack of beer, whack down a few beers, wash my mouth out with Listerine. Can't wait to see my daughter, feed my daughter, try to behave in front of my wife. Can't wait for them to go to bed. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, at the workout, I'm popping Percocets, Oxycontins, Darvocets, so I don't feel my injuries, but really it's a high. And then when they finally go to bed, drink like a fish, but the anxiety is still there. So take an Ambien or 2, and then next day, 5 o'clock in the morning,
boom,
rinse and repeat. Rinse.
Wow.
So at the end, I couldn't control my body. I was so toxic. There was an intervention.
Who did the intervention?
My wife was the engine, saying like, this is seriously becoming a problem. Michael Walsh, who was my interventionist, is still like an angel in my life. But this is now the book, believe it or not. So now we're about to go into the book. And what it is when I surrender, I only surrendered for 10 days. I didn't want to go for 28. But what happened to me in rehab was I found out who I was, what I was, and how I had to live.
Where'd you go to rehab?
I went to the Hanley Center.
And was this in Florida?
Yeah, this is in Florida. And by the way, the Hanley Center is still, I believe, the best there is. Some people call it, you know how they say holier than thou? They'll say Hanlier than thou, because there's no patient brokering. There's no messed up stuff. I mean, between Hanley, Hazleton, and I think Eric Clapton's place in Anguilla, those are really like, at least you know, and I think the Beachcomber is a good one too, but like, you know, your loved one is going to get the right treatment.
So when you went for 10 days.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck this, I'll go for 10. I just gotta clean up. I'm a little out of control. I'm fine. I don't need to be here for a month. Exactly. I'm not gonna not see my daughter and my wife for a month.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, dude, the last question I asked at my intervention was, does this mean I can't drink anymore? And the guy, that was his reaction. He goes, let's see if you even have this thing. And Darius, from the minute I got there, things just started backfiring. My idea was, okay, I am going to be the most dedicated, disciplined, determined rehab patient they've ever fucking seen, right? And they're going to go, it's not this guy. This guy's an animal. It must be his family. And everything fucking backfired, right?
Well, what do you mean backfired?
Okay, example. I remember the first time so I'm thinking that there's like cameras on me, because I'm thinking like I got to be the best behaved person, because they're obviously watching, right? I mean, I felt like I was in a jail, you know, and there's no cameras, by the way, but I felt that there were. And I'm watching the first time I'm in a group, and this guy Mark says, "Hey, I'm Mark, I'm an alcoholic," and this guy Pete says, "Hey, I'm Mark, I'm Pete, I'm an addict," and this guy Jesse says, "I'm an alcoholic and addict," and now it's coming to me, and I know what I have to say. Right, I know what I have to do. I get the pattern. I don't want to have to stay here for 28 days. And I say, "Hi, I'm Adam. I'm an alcoholic and an addict," for the first time. And this big 600-pound gorilla jumps off my shoulders, and I can breathe for the first time. And
wow,
it made sense. Like, have you ever seen The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Remember the movie at all?
Yeah.
At the very end, he realizes he's dead, and then the whole movie makes sense.
Isn't that the one where he goes, "I see dead people"?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so he finds out at the end of the movie that he's actually dead, and now the entire movie makes sense. I said that, and my whole life made sense. Oh, that's why I got a DUI in Arizona State, and I had to spend 2 days in jail. That's why I need to be the first kid in high school with a fake driver's license. That's why I hide alcohol and pills everywhere. That's why I've written my wife about 20 letters apologizing and say I'm never going to do it again. That's why I can't wait to hang with the boys. That's why I have to pre-party before football games. That's what, like, my entire life made sense. And within a minute, it was like this. You ready? Now what?
Oh.
How do I live? Like, how do I go to a dinner and not have wine with customers? How do I watch the Jets football game with my dad and not slam down a few? How do I alcohol was such a big part of my life. I didn't know how to live without it. I didn't know how to live, to the point that I'm with a therapist. And I mean, we're going over this really like traumatic, deep stuff. And I mean, too long to even start getting into now. And I look at him and I'm puzzled. I'm like, does this mean I can't have a glass of champagne at my daughter's wedding? And he looks at me like really confused. He's like, how old's your daughter? I'm like, she's 6 months old. Right. He goes, only an alcoholic would worry if he could have a glass. Right. So that's what I mean. It started backfiring, and something inside of me, Darius, was cracking. I thought I was so different than everyone around me. This guy's smoking crack, and this guy's doing heroin, and this guy, right? But slowly I started realizing a part of my ego was dying. And,
oh wow. You're so lucky, dude.
Yeah. And that's what happened on day 9. It felt more like a panic attack. Now I know it was a spiritual rebirth, but I couldn't breathe. My heart rate went way over 180. I was freaking the hell out. I remember them saying, like, Adam, what's wrong? And I looked at the nurses who loved me and I loved them. And I was like, I think this is real. And they're like, what's real? I'm like, this, I think this is all real. I think I'm an alcoholic and an addict, and I think I have to stay. They're like, so what? What's the big deal about that? I'm like, I told everybody I was going to be out in 10 days. You know, what are my parents going to think? You know, they're going to think they raised an alcoholic and an addict. Like, what's my wife going to think? What's this person going to think? Always worried about other people. They're like, calm down. I run. They calm me down. I run to call my wife. It's like 5:30 in the morning. She thinks I got stabbed or something. She doesn't know what the hell's going on in rehab. And I said, are you sitting down? I got some bad news. And she goes, sitting down. She's like, you woke me up. It's 5:30 in the morning. You woke the baby up. What's going on? And I'm like, listen, I'm an alcoholic and an addict, and I have to stay. Like, just like defeat, right? Ultimate defeat. And I heard this pause, Darius. And then I heard, I was never going to come pick you up. I was never going to come pick you up. And don't you see that Adam needs this and Adam needs that? Adam can only do 10 days and Adam needs the pills before he goes to work and Adam needs this and Adam. And I saw two of me. It's called the parallel process. I didn't know other people had
Wait, she said this to you, or you were saying this to you?
She said this.
She unloaded on you.
Yeah. But lovingly. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I saw two of me. It was called, it's called the parallel process. I never knew what it was, but other people had experienced. And I saw the one guy that got back on the phone was like, "Listen, bitch, get in the car, get divorce papers." Like just this angry, I'm right, you're wrong guy.
That was half of you.
Yeah, and then I saw this other guy, and I didn't know if he had to be poor. I didn't know if he had to wear a yarmulke. I didn't know if he had to be baptized. I didn't know anything, but I knew he was sober. And I jumped into that guy with both feet. And Darius, I attacked a program of recovery. And it woke up some gifts in me that I never knew I had. And it made the company be better. It made my family be better. Every relationship I ever had, it got better. I got a mentor, Dion DiMucci, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, that is like a spiritual father for me that I can't ever acknowledge enough. I got best friends. Like one day, maybe you'll have him on, Scott Jeffries, who's an artist Darius, wait till you meet some of my friends, and they'll be such great guests. This guy, Matt Williams, he started a protein bar. I just got this whole family of people, and the older guy, I hung around with the older guys for their wisdom, their stability, but I loved the younger guys. And I got this whole new family around me, and I had a way of living, and I believed in God, and everything changed. And people started coming to me, wanting what I had, wanting my advice, wanting suggestions, wanting my tutelage, my mentorship. People wanted what I had. And I started giving it away, and I became really good at that. And, trying to make a real long story short and cutting out the details. When we sold the family business, Darius, I knew what I had to do. And I'm not a recovery coach. I'm not. That I like to separate that. Some people love. But what happened was my alcoholism and addiction it lets me relate to people. My pain and what I overcame allows me to relate to people. So when I'm hired because somebody wants to start their clothing line, I know the fashion. I know the fashion from the lace. When somebody wants to do their Instagram, when somebody wants to start their podcast, when somebody wants to write their book, when somebody wants to be a better businessman, a better father, I have all these gifts to be able to give my clients, but I'm able to see now with a new pair of glasses. I see the world completely different. So that's why when you texted me and you were like, do you want to be on my show? I was like, fuck yeah. I say yes. Yes to life.
Yeah, man. That was such a cool 5 minutes.
Sorry.
No. I knew that would be 25 minutes. That was badass. Number one, thank you so much for your vulnerability. I always say my superpower is vulnerability. You own that too. You and I are cut from the same cloth. I think there's not going to be a lot different in our stories other than little tiny things about I was thicker, you were more cut, my parents did this, your parents did that. But the fact that you just told me before we even started our podcast that you built a business right next to Arizona State. What are the odds of that? Yeah, weird.
Yeah. This is, and I don't believe in hey, this is just synchronicity, man. I believe that there's a higher power at play. Yeah,
there's a guest I had on the show. You should check her out. Her name's Gina Malakon-Long. She talks about resonance, that people are on the same vibration. And when you're on the same vibration, it connects you. So that's her. She's cool. She's a smart lady. Gina, if you're watching, I know you have magic. So yeah, man, that's such a powerful story. So when did you guys sell the family business? How long ago was that?
March 1st.
All right. So you just sold the family business March 1st. And from that, it sounds like you're like, all right, what's next? And for you, it was obvious. It was, you sounds like you've probably been mentoring people when, by the way, did you go to recovery? How long ago was that?
July 14th, 2006
okay. So that was 14 years ago. And you've been living this recovered life since. No relapses or any relapses?
No relapses. I'm not a perfect person, but no relapses with alcohol and drugs, Yeah.
No, I don't judge either way. I'm about as flawed as they get with everything.
It's important to say that because, you never want anyone to say, well, I entered recovery and then everything I never made a mistake with alcohol and drugs again, but I had lied. I had to learn. It's like it was growing up. I was growing up for the first time, and I had to learn what being a man was all about. And growing up at 30, I wish I had done it younger.
Yeah, but you or not, or that's what you had to do to become what you are now, right? And so
it's been a great ride, a great journey. It's not like life still doesn't show up. I'm still with things that I share with you, Darius, that you and I spoke about. But I couldn't be happier with what I'm doing, and I felt I have your personality, so you understand this. I felt like it didn't feel like, I want to do this. It felt like a calling. It felt like, of course this is what I'm going to do.
So let's talk about the book. So and now you're doing the coaching, doing the Hero Project. Obviously you're blowing up on social media. Dude, I saw you had like 4,000 people in the last 3 days. I'm counting, dude, just so you know.
No, it's
no, I'm not counting.
Algorithm game that you're about to enter. So it's, don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. And just like yourself, I put a lot of hard work into it, but it is a game of numbers.
Oh yeah. No. I'm I'm watching you, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna catch up. You're gonna blink your eye and be.
No. You don't get it. I'm not compared to spare. I'm not comparing. I'm actually celebrating right now.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no. I'm not. I don't compare despair. Anyone, and that's the best quote in the world. People compare despair. Fuck. You got to run your own race.
Right.
I'm all pumped for people that have figured something out that I'm trying to figure out because it means they can help me figure it out. No, it's life's about everyone winning together. We don't need to compete at all, dude. That's not.
I didn't mean it even competitive. I just wanted you to know, like, you're going to be there. You're going to blink your eye. It's going to be the same thing.
So I want to, I appreciate that, and yeah, I hope so. And so let's talk about your book. So when did the book come out? May, is that right?
Yeah, but dude, this book has been a fucking piece of kryptonite in my life. I wrote the original book, the original part of the manuscript, 2 or 3 years being sober.
And tell everyone the title of the book.
So the book is Lotsaholic from a sick to sober Superman.
So you wrote Lotsaholic. You wrote the original manuscript over 10 years ago.
Yeah, and at the time, my wife did not want my kids knowing about me, and I had to respect that. I understand her point of view. I do. Why let them be as? Why do they need to know that until they need to know that? It was very hard for me, but I do understand her point, no doubt. And but this book it was like I had to keep shelving it. But each time I would add a little bit. I was a little more sober. I was a little more clean. I had more clarity. So I really love people that can knock these books out in a year or 2 or sometimes 6 months. That book, every single word was written by me, and I edited it, and then I re-edited it, and then I copy edited it. I mean, every single thing to make sure it was as real and on point as it could be. But I do not suggest anyone write a book like that. You know what I mean? Get some help. It took every bit of my soul. Writing a book for me, it's like purging it. Like it took everything out of me. And you have to make sure when you're writing about something that you're not, this is my story. It has nothing to do with hurting this family member or that family member or this friend. But it's honest and it's real. If anything, I would tell you, Darius, is that I played down a little bit of how much I was drinking and drunk, because I don't think people will believe how much the human body can take.
Oh, it's crazy, man. I had a buddy that was addicted to, what was it? It's before OxyContin became popular. It was the other one. Shoot, I'm blanking on the name. But anyway, he got, it was just a painkiller. And he got up to like 150 fucking pills a day. And he had to go on Starbucks to get off of it. It was crazy. 150. Dude, by the way, this isn't like a pill that this is a pill when you have surgery, you take a half of one, right? It's like hydrocodone or whatever, but it was
hydrocodone. Yeah.
It was like it wasn't oxys, but it was like, it was the shit that was popular before oxys. And so I saw him get addicted, and he started grabbing them like eating like handfuls of them. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
He take 10, 15 for lunch, right? Yeah. And that because one doesn't do anything once you start getting attenuated to it, and 10 don't, but you got to take 10 to get the same as a 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad for your organs.
What I realized for me, and this is for me, some people, recovery is their whole life. What I realized for me is that's my special family, right? People that have experienced that. But I try to take the spiritual lessons and the valuable lessons from that, the valuable lessons of running the #1 lace company for 23 years, about being a bodybuilder, about being an empath, about having, the diplomas and the license of having a life coach. And I try to mix it all through my personality to help someone else with whatever what's that block? What is that? A lot of times it doesn't manifest into alcohol or pills. It manifests in the food. It manifests into constant negative loops. It manifests into laziness. It manifests into anger. I see a lot now with anger. So, what I'm trying to do is just take these spiritual lessons and break people free.
So you started the coaching practice. Is there a particular type of person you prefer to work with? I mean, obviously we're talking about a whole array of problems that you just mentioned, but is there like an ideal client where you're like, that's the client I can help the most?
No. I thought there would be. What I've come to realize is that the more honest and willing the person is to really, really dig into the work, the more fun we have, the more bonding it is, and the more love that's happened between me, the coach and the mentor, and my student, and I can watch them grow. I thought I was going to be kind of pigeonholed into maybe men 25 to 45 with families. But what I've come to realize is this, for me personally, both genders, all ages.
And so you're doing the coaching, and so what's the end goal here? Right now, you have the book that came out. You're doing speaking. You're doing coaching. Like if you could fast forward to Adam Jablin, December 31st, 2025, what do you want to see happen?
Darius, I just want to make sure that no matter how much success and notoriety and good works are done, that Adam Jablin is always a good father, that my kids feel how much I love them, that every single person I work with can feel how much I love them, that I respected and loved everybody I could, that I gave all of my heart and all of my soul and all my passion to each and every client, be it one-on-one or group. And to be unique, meaning like you said, what was the saying you were saying? The don't compare.
Compare despair.
Right. I do not find any competition. I know there's a lot of coaches, but they don't have my story. They have, every single person has the right. I'm not for everybody. Each person has the person that they can relate with the most. I was taught that, like, I guess Tony Robbins, I didn't know this, does a lot of like Aristotle, Stoic, stuff like that. And I was like, oh wow, a friend of mine, Dylan, taught me that. Like he has certain things that he references. So for me, I guess you would say it's the Old and New Testament, sports, and superheroes. Whoever, those are a lot of the analogies I use,
right.
from the Old and New Testament, from sports analogies like Michael Jordan, Kobe, Tom Brady, and, Marvel and DC Comics, out of this lunatic personality. And so I just hope that there's a lot of people that you and I can help in 2025. I hope there's some money in the bank. Everyone's eating well. I hope that people that worked with me said, man, that guy's the real fucking deal.
Yeah.
The future's bright.
That's cool, man. So why don't we let everybody know where they can find you, or probably hitting near the end of the show here. Where can everyone connect with you? I mean, you've got an amazing following on Instagram and great engagement there. But where else? We'll get all this in the comments.
Yeah. Well, first off, if you're suffering, my phone number is 561-441-5926. I'm here. You know what I mean? This is not a platform for me to just try to gain attention. I'm here to help. My website is www.adamjablin.com. My Instagram is @AdamJablin. And you can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, Adam Jablin. But again, write down that phone number if you need my help. That's really why I'm here.
Do you want them to put it in the comment section?
Whatever.
Say it again. I'll have Amber put it in the comment section if you want.
Sure. No problem. 561-441-5926.
There you have it, friend.
If they need help, I'm here to help. I really am, Darius. So are you.
Yeah. No, I'm always glad to help. Wow, man. Well, that was quite a show.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I loved it. Thank you so much, brother. I'm so grateful that we've gotten to connect in this way, and I'm so grateful to have you on the Greatness Machine. You are definitely someone who's out there really putting your energy into creating greatness in the world, and much love, so much gratitude, my friend.
Dude, same. I'm really looking forward to the next few years working together, Darius. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, no, I can already see it. So I feel lucky that we've connected. I'm so pumped to have you on the show, and for us to be able to start building our what we're doing, our businesses, and to support one another. And you've been such a great support, and I appreciate all your help during launch week, getting the word out there. It means a lot to me, man.
Oh, dude, anything I can do for you, 100%.
Thank you, guys. I think that we're done for the week. This week, we had a great end of the week here. We got a couple great shows next week. We got Rand Stagen kicking off the week, which is an amazing show. Rand's a mentor of mine. But everyone have a great weekend. Do all the things you got to do. Follow us at The Real Darius M on Facebook. That's my business site. You can also go to www.therealdarius.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. We're starting to really put together some interesting content that's going to come out of there. And you can also go to The Real Darius on YouTube and subscribe to that channel as well. And you get updates when we do our shows. So with that said, my friend Adam, love you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was so fun. I really appreciate it. Guys, share this. This is such a powerful message. Anyone that you know that's suffering, they need to hear everything that Adam just said. Share it on your Facebook. Pass his information around. This guy's the real deal. Champ, just spreading love and good vibes and lots of knowledge in the world. And his story needs to be heard by as many people as possible. With that said, we'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace. We're out of here.
Thanks, brother.